Well, welcome everyone. This is our webinar on internal AI policy and usage. Before we get started, let's take a look at the quick agenda of what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about a little bit introduction about us, about AI, what you can do with AI, some of the risks of AI, and then we'll go into an example of AI policy and all the components it needs to have, and then answer any questions that you may have. With that in mind, let's get started. Some information about us. Our company, Expert Computer Solutions, have been in business for over 20 years. I, Peter Robert, am the founder of the company, and I have with me Amy, who is our marketing team or part of our marketing team. Um, Personally, my experience has been over the last 20 years, I've worked with almost every position within an IT organization, from the very beginning of starting a business and answering phone calls and answering people problems to working and auditing over 150 companies and figuring out exactly how their technology works, what do they need to have, what are their policies, what are their procedures, what are the things that need to have to work efficiently. And I'm also been a very heavy or early embracer of AI. I started using AI 3 years ago when people weren't yet talking about AI. And with AI, I want to do a quick introduction about it and what you could do. So AI has changed over the last 3 years in many, many different ways. Um, a year ago, 2 years ago, AI was what college kids were using to write essays and people were using to tweak emails. Well, uh, that's no longer the case. AI is built into almost every aspect of what we do. A quick story for you. A couple of weeks ago, I'm it was a weekend and my kids wanted to play video games. I have two kids, 10 and 11 years old, and I would like to teach them about AI. So one of the things I asked them to do is, why don't you build a video game? They're like, well, what do you mean build a video game? I'm like, okay, let's sit down. 30 minutes of chatting with ChatGPT, and before you know it, they have a fully functional video game. The video game that they could play on their phone, it has sound, it has controls. I mean, this is something that you could do with AI. Another example of a recent experience I had is talking to a company that they had a junior developer within the organization uh, come to the management and saying, we just wrote an inventory system using AI. Can we implement it in production? We are very far along from using AI just to rewrite emails. It is one of the use cases for it, but you could do a lot more with it. You could rewrite data in Excel. You can give you ideas. You could research and format the work that you have. Now, with this in mind, there's some risks that can occur with AI. I'll tell you another story. One of the things that I do is I go out to companies and I do these audits or assessments. And basically, I'm evaluating risk of technology that we have. And I always ask people, do you use ChatGPT? Do you use AI? So this one company I'm talking to, and I'm sitting across the desk from one of the person. I asked them, do you use ChatGPT? And they say, yes, I use it all the time. It's like, I just copy and paste my emails and I put it into the system and it works great. It reformats it, gives me ideas. And my next question to them is, do you use a free version or do you use a paid version? It says, well, I'm using the free version. I don't need the paid version. Well, do you know that the free version can use your data to learn and to enhance their system? So like, well, I didn't know about that. Well, the next thing I shared with them is recently in the news, a security analyst was able to get ChatGPT to release emails that Zoho CEO, in case if you guys don't know who Zoho is a pretty large CRM system that is used all over the world. Well, Zoho CEO apparently was using free version of ChatGPT as well, and he did not check if it was using his data to learn the system. So this security analyst was able to get all of the emails with who they were sent to, with the content of it, and have the ChatGPT display that data and have the company information be out there and available for someone else to see. This is a pretty big security risk. It really, if you want to use AI, you need to be able to use AI responsibly. With this in mind, this is the reason why we're having this particular webinar. Let's talk about AI policy. AI policy is just a way for you to explain to your company the importance of how to use AI and what security precautions you have to take. So why have an AI policy? You want to specify how AI is used within your company, who is responsible for using AI within your organization, what is your risk, who has ownership, and how do you audit that and make sure everything is secure. We're going to go through all of these in the detail as part of the AI components. Now, quick disclaimer. Our expertise is IT, technology, or infrastructure. We are not lawyers, so please you take this information with a grain of salt. Make sure before you apply any AI policy, tweak it, run it by your legal department, make sure it is your own. All right, so that is in mind. Here are the main components of an AI policy that you should have. Purpose, scope, core principles, define your sensitive data, permit, allowed use or permitted use, who has the roles, responsibilities, how do you do reporting and escalation. So let's talk about the first section is policy, purpose, and scope. Here is where you define who does this policy apply to? Does it apply to everybody in your company? Does it apply to specific individuals? Do you want everybody to use AI? How are they going to be using AI within your organization? It is also important to define what are they able to do with it as in your overall goal for the AI. Like for instance, for us, AI does not replace a person. And at the end of the day, the person is who's responsible for any decisions or anything else that AI has. The next thing you want to define is sensitive data and data protection. I'll tell you guys a quick story. I mentioned earlier that I do a lot of assessments. Well, we do assessments with different types of companies. Some of them are oil and gas companies. And I'll have a conversation with an oil and gas executive and I'll say, well, what's sensitive? What do you consider sensitive information? They're like, well, we don't have any sensitive information. Everything we do is just we build tools and it's not really that sensitive. And then I'll ask them, what happens if your tool designs get leaked on the internet because someone put those into ChatGPT or another, AI, Google AI, to get some information on it? Well, that would be bad. So for them, tool designs as intellectual property is considered sensitive. Another type of companies we work with is financial investment firms or organizations. I spoke to one of them, and to them, everything is sensitive. A single email that is between a client could be very sensitive. It's not something they would ever want to be exposed or out on the internet. Defining what's sensitive to you is important when you work on a policy like this. As you define this, you want to determine what is the permitted use and what is the non-permitted use. So with AI, you could have AI that is part of your company, like let's say Copilot, where you could have confidential information, and then you could have something like Google Gemini or something else that's not part of the company. Well, you may want to say that for your marketing team, they could use AI to generate pictures and everything it's permitted. And for your, inside legal team or HR team, you cannot share any personal information. You cannot share any PII. You can only work with AI that is company provisioned and secured before you're able to put any confidential information into it. The next item that you want to define as part of your AI policy is who is responsible for AI. I learned over the past, if you don't make this determination and you have multiple people who are responsible, then no one is responsible because everybody else thinks someone else is responsible and takes accountability for it. So what you want to do is identify a single role, single job function within your company who's going to be accountable for at least communicating and making decisions about your AI policy within your organization. With that in mind, you want to define clear roles and responsibilities. In addition, who's responsible is who's going to be doing auditing? Is someone going to be managing? Are you going to be providing training on your AI? How to use your AI? What we found is when we start talking about AI in companies, we have two different sets of two different people or two different personalities. We have people who have been tinkering with it and want to do this and kind of trying to push the envelope. I want to introduce this now, and sometimes not worrying about security, which you should be concerned about. And then we have people who are, I'm afraid that this is going to displace and I'm going to lose my job. And I will tell you guys, those people, you're not going to lose your job to AI. You're going to lose your job to a person who's using AI to be able to be more productive and work better. So defining those roles and responsibilities is really going to help you educate your staff and have a better adoption within your organization. And then the last component over here is you want to have reporting and issue escalation. By reporting is you want to talk to your business and seeing who is currently using AI, how are they using it, who wants to use AI, and how are you going to audit this or find out what has it in place. I will guarantee you that within your company, people are already using it. You just probably, whether you know how they're using it or not, that depends on how strong your policies and procedures are. With this in mind, I'm going to go through and show you guys our example of what our AI policy or an abridged version of how our policy looks. We have a purpose. We define what is our approach to AI. Our approach, it doesn't replace you. You need to, we want you to be educated on it. Scope, who does it apply to? Which AI systems can be used? Approved AIs, which AIs we are using and are part of our business that are in production and are secured by the company. Sensitive data, as I mentioned, this is really important. You're defining what is the sensitive data for your business, what are different classes, what is it that you want to protect and make sure it's not just out there for someone else to see. Acceptable use. And acceptable use can be not just in terms of what you're allowed to put into it, but you guys are running a business. You may not want them to use your AI for something that's inappropriate. You want to stick it to business use that's related to your business. Prohibited use, what you are not allowed to put in. Data security, confidentiality. This is very important as well. I'll tell you another quick story about data security and confidentiality. I was talking to someone else about how they really like AI and how they've integrated and it can read all of their emails, has access to them. It really is helpful for them. And my first question to them is, well, you have a lot of security precautions at your business. You have two-step verification or multi-factor authentication, but you just integrated this AI to talk to your email and have access to all of your files. Do you have multi-factor authentication installed on the AI system? And in that particular conversation, the answer was no. So if the answer is no, then the hacker doesn't need to compromise your work environment anymore. They just can compromise your AI engine that you are using, and they have access to everything that you're doing. Take steps to protect that. Second one is quality control. Who is going to oversee whether someone is using it or abusing it? What are your roles and responsibilities? Who's the owner? Who is responsible? Who do they report problems to? Your training awareness. How do you train your people? We just did a training class both for ChatGPT and for Copilot as part of something that we are offering to our clients to really help embrace and use those products correctly. And last is reporting of issues. How is someone going to report whether they're having problems, whether they saw someone using it in a way that they shouldn't be, or if there is a really cool AI that they want to bring in that can help run your business better. So this is our sample. Quick kind of plug for us. If you have interest in AI or have questions about technology, we could help you. We have an AI risk assessment, an AI readiness assessment that we could do. And if this is something of interest, definitely reach out to us. We can help. We've put together some information for you as part of this webinar. AI policy template, a quick guide that follows what we've just outlined in this webinar. AI risk checklist that you could use for you, and just a webinar summary. You could scan this QR code and we will send you that information. Also, we'll follow up with whoever's registered so you could get that information as well. And the next question I have is, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them into chat or Q&A. We're happy to answer any questions that you have on these topics. While you guys are typing or thinking about that, here are frequently asked questions that some of our other clients and from other webinars that we have. How do we vet third-party AI vendors before approval? So quick answer for you guys, treat any AI vendor as if they were SaaS provider. And if they're a SaaS provider is, if you have any kind of a compliance needs, do they have a SOC report? Or do you have an ISO report? Do they have an incident response plan? Are they gonna notify you if there's an event? Do they have security controls like multi-factor authentication? Another question that came up with is, how do we ensure AI tools don't misuse or retain our data? It is important to see and evaluate what are their disclosure policies, what are their security policies. And we know that with Copilot, it is secured by Microsoft. Some of the other ones, like some of the Chinese ones that are out there, I would be very careful what they're using it. Again, treat it as a SaaS platform. I see there's a question that came out from Kira. Will the PowerPoint or the videos be provided? The follow-up links will be provided if scan that QR code, or if you're registered, we'll send it to you. Should we disable AI restricted or allow it? So this is a great question that came up in a previous conversation. It is very easy to use AI. As a matter of fact, if you guys using Windows, you will find that it's now built in to almost every Windows 11 computer that's out there, M365 or Copilot. And what people don't realize that by default, the Windows version is the free version that you need to control. If you restrict it, you need to talk to your IT company about restricting it. If you allow it, and having an AI policy helps you to define to your team members how they should be using it and what they should not be using it for. Are global or company-wide restrictions applied before AI rollout? Great question. If you are thinking about having AI rollout within your company, we do recommend to do an AI readiness assessment, especially if you're using Microsoft and if you're using Copilot. There's a Microsoft provides a checklist. We provide a checklist. We can help you sort this out and figure it out. This is kind of summary of our questions. I'm trying to keep these webinars short, free up your day. If you have any other questions, feel free to put them into chat. And if you do not, thank you. Thank you for joining me. We'll have more webinars coming up, and have a great day.